So now that we have installed the entire server, we could actually test if it works. We could test if all these apps, all these network services are running. So one of the things we installed is a web servers. That's Nginx. Nginx is a web server or an app that allows you to give web pages to anyone that connects to it. And you'll see if I check it's running. And to get the computer address, we could do IPAS. And then we could find the address in here. And if we type it in the browser, you'll see the web app is running. So we can now give out different web pages, and they are stored in the computer itself. So here in the directory var www html, and you'll find the actual code of the web page. So that's in var www html. And if we want, we could edit the web page. Let's say change the text. To do that, we need to be administrator. So that's the sudo command in front. You have edit the file as administrator. So I save this file. I modify this web page. If I refresh, you'll see changes the web page. So that's a web service running, a web server. But that's not the only thing we installed. We installed some other network servers as well. For example, an FTP server. So we could check if that is running. We'll see that it's running an FTP server. So this allows you to remotely upload and download files. It's called File Transfer Protocol. And it allows you for any computer to turn it into an FTP server where you can upload and download files. So let's have a look. We close this one. And there's two different ways that you might interact with a file server or an FTP server. One is using the terminal and one using a graphical interface. Now for simplicity, let's try with the graphical interface. So we type the IP address of the computer. So that will be different, of course, depending on which IP address it was returning on the command IPAS. In this case, it returns this IP address, but it will be completely different on the computer. So type the username, password, and we can connect to it. Usually the port is 21 for FTP. And you'll see we click OK, and we are inside the WASP directory. Now we can download and upload files. So we could say with any file, we could right click upload, and it would upload it to the file server if it has the permission, and otherwise we can download it. So it can be quite useful, this file services. If you have the right permissions configured in your FTP server, you can upload and download files. Now, besides FileZilla, you can also do it through the command line. So if you would type FTP O and that connect to the server, then log in, and you can do it in the command line interface. You could check the current directory. You could upload some file if it is there, or you could download it. So you can download and upload files either through this graphical interface or the terminal interface. It doesn't really matter. So the main thing that makes that possible is network services. So we have installed several of them in this server or in this computer. We installed the VSFTP, so an FTP server, and we had installed Nginx. You see the Nginx service, web server. Now, this is of course not the only web services you might run. There are many possible apps you can install that function as a network service, but these are some of the more common ones. So now we tested the server configuration. We are able to access the web server with the browser, and with FileZilla we could access it directly to transfer, upload, and download files. Depending on which services are enabled, you can then interact with them.